Okay. There we go, hopefully. Hey guys. Well, it's tactics session today. I'm just having some issue with my smartphone. Give me a sec. It wouldn't work. Okay. Rebooting it. So, excuse me. On Tuesday we couldn't stream because I was really sick, and I'm still sick, but at least today I can use my head and my voice, which I couldn't on Tuesday. So I'm going to do this tactics session. Maybe I cannot do the 2 hours, we'll see, because then I have to go to a concentration. So let's start and see if I can do the 2 hours. Yeah, it's been a while. I didn't stream since last Friday when I did this stream with Cuartillo in Valladolid. It wasn't our best stream, but yeah. On the weekend, on Sunday, I couldn't stream. And my team drew on Saturday without me. And this Saturday I'm going to play again with the team. I'm back. So on Sunday I will do the usual game analysis stream. Sorry. Okay, so what do we have here? Let me get closer to the board. Keyboard here, microphone here, and sorry, hopefully you can still see me centered on the screen and hear me. Okay, so there we go. I apologize in advance because I think I'm gonna be coughing all the stream because I'm still sick, so yeah, sorry about it. So in this first position, what do we have? We are black in this crazy position where we have a strong attacking initiative with this knight over here, this queen over here. So first move that comes to mind is queen f2 check, and then maybe some ideas against h2. Oh, sorry, f4 is covered. Okay, that's definitely one idea, but let's count the material. We have 2 pawns. We're 2 pawns down. So we're bad from a material point of view. Fortunately, we have 2 attacking pieces, knight and queen, that usually coordinate very well for some checkmating attack, and also the rook can come handy to the h file if necessary. So yeah, first idea is why not, first question is why not doing the check, the obvious check. Queen f2 check in h1, that's a forced move. Then I guess if we go to h4 to threaten an obvious checkmate, he can escape back to g1. That's probably a bad move, but he can also play h3 and then knight f2 check king g1. Well, the pawn is pinned on h3, so we might try something different, but if queen g3, pawn takes knight, rook h8 check, king g1, I don't see a checkmate. So probably h3 is a good defense in that line. I don't see how can we continue the attack there. So after queen check, king h1, do we have something better than queen f4? Maybe some rook h8? Yeah, rook h8 seems dangerous. Unless we're blundering the knight with queen e6 check. And then we're in bad shape. Yeah, if we blunder the knight, we are in bad shape. So okay, queen f2 followed by rook h8 doesn't work. What about rook h8 first? Rook h8, trying to do queen f2 and rook h2. And if he goes h3, then queen f2, king h1, rook takes h3, and then queen h2 mate. So rook h8 definitely an interesting idea. Rook h8, what can he do? h3 doesn't work. But he has the ability to defend f2. So he can go rook f1 or even queen d4, also threatening a rook. And if we don't have queen f2 check, what do we have? At least two defenses against the rook h8 idea. Let's consider first the most forcing one that attacks our rook, then rook takes h2, threatening mate on g2. He has no checks, no obvious checks, so yeah, that might be good for us. He can go back to d5 if necessary with the queen, because we only have the threat on queen f2 then. Okay, queen d4 doesn't seem to work, so rook h8, rook f1. Let's see. Rook h8. Panroth is suggesting rook f8, which is also interesting. Rook f8, a really interesting move. Sort of preventing queen f5 and also threatening, I guess the threat is queen f2, queen f1, which is a really strong threat. Yeah, I like it. I like that idea. And our queen still defending the knight and still protecting e6. So yeah, rook f8 does really coordinate very well, and it has a really strong threat, and prevents rook f1 as well. So the only question is what happens after queen d4, I guess. Because rook h8, he can play rook f1. I'm still not sure if white is surviving there. But rook f8, really interesting idea. Didn't even consider it. And now, how does he stop queen f2, queen f1? He can't play rook f1. He can't move this pawn because it's the same checkmate. And he can't move this pawn because of queen h2 mate. So I guess also bishop e1 blunders mate on f1. So I guess queen d4 is the only alternative. So rook f8, queen d4, and what about c5? Because now that our queen's still on e2, our knight is not hanging, how does he keep f2 protected. Is there any other way to defend against queen f2, queen f1? I mean, he has no way to defend f2, he has no way to defend f1. Yeah, I think rook f8, queen d4, c5 wins on the spot. It seems to win. Of course, if pawn takes, I mean, bc, bc. And maybe he has to give up the queen for the knight to prevent the checkmate. Yeah, and he doesn't even have the counterplay rook e1 because we're still threatening. Oh, let's see. Rook f8, queen d4, c5, rook e1. We just take the rook. Yeah, we just take the rook and and then the queen. Okay. So yeah, I'm convinced rook f8 seems to win. I'm still wondering what happens in the other. Okay, so he gives up the queen. Good one. I was still wondering if we could win in this line with rook f1. But yeah, now f2 is never a problem. And we can never take here easily. Because, yeah, if rook h2, rook f8. So, yeah. Good one. Thank you for the suggestion. I didn't consider rook f8 previously. Okay, this position we would really love to checkmate there. So let's see how can we achieve it. Maybe some ideas related to knight e5 and this bishop hanging on e7. Okay, tactical position. Let's go for it. So for example, knight e5, if queen c2, knight e7 already wins a piece. That's interesting. On the other hand, he could just take the knight probably, and then we have to consider some different options. Yeah, knight e5 doesn't feel right. What else can we do? Knight here, if queen c2, again knight f6, but then bishop f6 threatens our bishop on h4, so I don't quite like it. We could start first with bishop f6. Yeah, maybe that's the most forcing idea, because if he has to take with the knight, otherwise we win a piece on e4. So that's forcing. And then knight e5, threatening knight takes f6 and queen h7. He cannot take with the knight because of the mate. He cannot take our queen because of the bishop hanging on e7 with check. And I'm assuming we have same material in the starting position, and yes, we have. Didn't count it. So bishop f6, knight f6, knight e5. What happens if he takes with the pawn? And what happens if he takes with the bishop? On d5, I mean. Yeah, I don't see a clear way to win. Should we start with knight takes e4? Clown Pong is saying something takes f6, so I guess bishop, yeah. Bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, knight takes e4, queen takes e2, yeah, but then bishop takes and defending e4. That's why he cannot take with the bishop on e7, on f6, sorry. So yeah, that's why I was considering that idea of bishop takes f6, because he's forced to take with the knight. I guess he doesn't have time to no, because of the mate on h7. He doesn't have time to knight takes c3. So bishop takes forces knight takes f6. And then I was considering knight e5, because he cannot take with the knight, he cannot trade queens. But of course he can still take on d5 with either bishop or pawn. And still need to calculate somehow, because of course I have some queen moves threatening his queen, but his knight is safely defending the mate. So maybe there's a better idea after bishop takes, knight takes, crazy idea like rook d7 or even rook d5. So I'll come to that later. Let's first see what happens here. Knight takes e4. If knight takes e4, I take on e7, I guess. So knight takes e4, bishop takes. Sorry. Then we trade queens. And then we take on e4, and e7 is hanging. So that's also an idea. And maybe simpler. Of course, I need to see what happens if g5 in somewhere in the middle of the line. So let's start calculating with accuracy. Accuracy is required here. Knight takes e4. Of course, he can trade queens. Oh, clown pawn. That was what I was considering. 95 if knight takes f6. But I'm not sure what happens after ed or bishop takes d5, e takes d5 or bishop takes d5 in that line. So I will get back to that later. If knight takes e4 doesn't work, I will get back to that line. But I think knight takes e4 might work. So I took a piece on e4. What's he gonna do? If he takes with the knight, I take on e7. So I'm a piece up. So I think, yeah, that isn't enough. I think he has two options basically. Bishop takes e4 or queen takes. I think bishop takes e4 we can already see that wins for us because we trade queens. He has to take back the queen, then we take on e4, and it's a piece up because the knight is pinned on f6. Maybe he has g5 though. Yeah, maybe he has g5. So let me first sorry. Let me first discard the other line. Queen takes c2, knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, bishop takes c2, bishop takes h4. Yeah, maybe that yeah, maybe that doesn't work either. Complicated. So knight takes, queen takes. I can also try bishop takes c2, sort of transposing to the other line after bishop takes g5. Yeah, after g5 are both bishops are two bishops are hanging, so I think I don't have anything good in those lines. So maybe I need to find f3. What? f3. He takes on c3. He has h7 defended. No, I can't believe f3. f3, knight takes c3, bishop takes f6, knight takes e2 check, and then after queen takes e2, we're threatening his queen, right? But we're not threatening checkmate anymore, so queen e8 defending the bishop on e7 might be enough for him, I guess. It's just a trade, but okay, f3 is a move to consider. I wouldn't consider it, but it has a point. I agree. Anyway, I was thinking that with these two bishops here and these two rooks here, there's this common pattern of trading some stuff and then put a rook on c7 or d7 in the end of some line to win a piece. So can I get that to work? Let's go back to this line. Bishop takes, knight takes. can I play like rook d7 there? He has to take with the queen. No. What's that? That's stupid. What about rook d5? Now, rook d5 he doesn't need to take. f3 cannot work, come on. Well, first of all, after f3 he probably can do this, but he also has this knight g5 move. And how am I going to ever threaten the knight on f6 if I want to play for the checkmate? Can I try 95 in the first move? I know I mentioned it was stupid, but maybe 95 in the first move. Is that too crazy? He has a lot of options, but queen takes c2 is no option. So I guess ED is best for him. Nah, 95 that cannot work. Cannot work. G5 pretty much refuses if something was working with knight takes c3. Yeah, 95. Yeah. After f3, 95. I mean, I can take on g5 if I want. I can do some stuff, but I'm never reaching the f6 knight, I think. So okay, let's go back to this forcing line and let's see if we can find something once the diagonal is cleared. Okay, we considered 95 after that. So he only we have a couple of threats. Knight takes e7, big threat. Knight takes f6, big threat. So he has to take the knight on d5. But we know that he cannot take it with the knight. We know that he cannot trade queens because we take on e7 with check. Although our knight might get trapped there, but I guess we defend it. And so he has bishop takes d5 or pawn takes d5. Can we find something against those moves? Bishop f6, knight f6, knight d5, pawn takes d5. Queen somewhere. Cannot see it. I cannot see it. Because I have no more power against the knight on f6. I mean, conceptually, if I want to ever use this threat over here, I guess I need to trade knights now that I can. Because otherwise, if I take here and he takes back, what can I do against that knight? Knight e5 doesn't work because he just takes with pawn or bishop. So yeah, after takes, if knight e4 would work, but bishop takes e4 seems good enough for him. So I have nothing against the knight on f6. should be able to do something against the bishops on the 7th rank, but how the hell can I play some rook c7 at some point? So yeah, I'm not very enthusiastic about this line with bishop takes f6, although it solves a problem that our bishop is hanging here. But okay, let's try then the other line. Knight takes c4. We know he has two options, queen takes c2 or bishop takes. Let's say queen takes c2. We have to take on f6, check. He has to take with the bishop. Well, we could take the queen with the bishop. So let's see. Queen takes, bishop takes. Then bishop takes and g5. Once again, we're in the same lines. And we didn't even calculate the line with bishop takes e4 instead of queen takes c2. Knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, queen c8, rook a c8, bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, bishop takes e7. Yeah, sure, that's what I'm trying to make it work. But black has the option, instead of knight takes e4, to play g5 first. Then our two bishops are hanging. So he's regaining the piece. And also, he doesn't even need to take on e4 after knight takes e4. He doesn't need to take with the bishop immediately on e4. He can trade queens first and probably transpose into the same position where he can save, take his piece back with g5. So I cannot see those work, which really annoys me, because I'm out of ideas in a position that seems like must be something. I'm sure there must be something, because yeah, it's a puzzle. But I'm seeing all different lines with this exactly same ideas transposing ones to each other, and black having the same defenses in all of them. And I'm pretty sure in one specific order we should win, but I'm not finding it. So maybe there's a hidden idea. Well, not hidden, but one additional idea that I'm not seeing now. g5 knight takes f6. No, we have a bishop on e4, not a knight. For example, in the line that you are giving, knight takes e4, bishop takes e4, queen takes c8, rook a takes c8, bishop takes e4, so we have a bishop there. g5. We have a bishop on e4, a bishop on h4, so g5 wins the piece back. We don't have the intermezzo knight takes f6 check. We only have it if he trades queens, but it doesn't work, I think. Knight takes c4, queen takes c2, then we have the knight takes f6 intermezzo, but then he takes with the bishop, and after we regain the queen, he regains the piece on h4. So that doesn't work either, I think. Tougher than it looks, yes. It's tough. It's really tough. Knight takes 95. Knight takes, bishop takes. Oh my gosh. Maybe we can start with, maybe it's a stupid idea, but maybe we can start with rook d4. I guess he has knight g5 again, at least. But knight g5, f4. Yeah, because in the other line, and I mean in the line with f3, if knight g5, f4, he can step back to e4, and we no longer have f3. But if rook d4, knight g5, we have f4, and the knight cannot go back to e4. Yeah, I also considered to sack the queen because we take it back on c8, but I didn't see a way to make it work. We are giving up an exchange, I think, in all lines where we sack the queen. Because if we take on c8 with a rook, and we take a piece with our queen, even in the best case scenario, that we end up winning the piece on e7 as well, it's 2 pieces for a rook. I'm not sure if that's enough. Okay, so let's go back. No go back, but let's go to the queen sacrifice lines. I'm not sure, however, if black is forced to allow them. But for example, knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes could be a line. I guess he can take on c1 with the queen, but let's say the easy one for him would be to take our queen. We take his queen, he has to take the queen back, and then the rook, I mean, and then we take the piece on e7. But yeah, in that position we're sacrificing an exchange. So not an exchange. We have 2 pieces for the rook. But the knight on e4 is hanging. And the rook on f8. Okay, so that line might work, but I think it's very suspicious. It has some alternatives for black. For example, in the first move, after knight takes, he can just trade queens. And we're not going to sacrifice our queen. And in the other line, with bishop takes, knight takes, I don't see a way to sack the queen. So what about rook d4? Is it too is it too much? It feels like over sophisticated. Like, this is the kind of move I look for when after I run out of ideas. Isn't your advantage here that you have a mate threat on h7? If I have to name my advantages, I would say that we have better pieces placement, and our advantages are we have pressure here, we have definitely pressure on h7, but it's gonna be hard to remove a knight from f6. He can always have a knight on f6, I think, and our bishop might be hanging here. But another advantage is, of course, the knight is pinned on f6. So yeah, it's a bunch of things, but I didn't find the move order. It cannot be as easy as we have a forced sequence to deliver mate on h7 because I cannot see it. Now, rook d4 is too sophisticated, but it has a point. We're threatening to take the knight on e4, basically. In better conditions, maybe. Just maybe. Hi, Roman. And the idea is if he tries knight g5, we have f4. But of course, it seems like it cannot be the solution, but it's just one idea. I have the feeling that one of the lines we already considered should be the solution, and that we missed some idea. I have that feeling. So let's find the hidden idea. We can only threaten the bishop on e7 with the knight on d5, but I didn't see any line working with knight on d5. Hey Roman, we already saw those lines, and if he takes with the a rook, the queen back on c8, then after bishop takes e4, I don't win a piece because he has g5 and he wins the piece back. That's one drawback of that line, and the other one is after knight takes e4, he can immediately take on c2. Knight takes e4, queen takes c2, and if we take on f6, he takes with the bishop, so that our bishop is hanging on h4. And Floyd, that was the first line I considered. We saw that after bishop takes f6, he must take with the knight, and the problem is after knight d5, I think he can take with pawn or bishop, and I didn't see a continuation. He has a knight on f6 defending the mate, and we're losing a piece on d5. I don't see what's our win there. Can you send the link of the puzzle? Yes, I guess. Sorry. So another guy suggested f3. I think it was Clown Pong suggested it. It was an interesting idea. The problem is, I think knight takes c3 should be good for black, but he can also try knight g5, and we never reach the f6 knight. And if we ever go to f4, he goes back to e4. That's why I thought, okay, then rook d4, and if he ever goes to f4, I play to g5, sorry, I play f4, and then he might be in trouble. So rook d4 is an idea that I have. that if nothing else works, I would try rook d4, but it feels so sophisticated for this position where, you know, pieces are well placed. And I also have this pattern in mind of having at the end of some line rook d7 or rook c7 to win a piece, but I didn't find a move order to trade queens, remove knights, and so on. Yeah, knight takes c4 seems nice, but I didn't see a win after bishop takes c4, and I didn't see a win after queen takes c2, and those are two lines. Give me a sec, I have to answer to a message. So yeah, I feel knight takes c4. Hello, Quartillo. I feel knight takes c4 should be the answer, but I cannot make it work. That's why I'm considering rook d4. Bishop f6 is a forcing move, but it feels counterintuitive, because then he gets a knight on f6 and then he's safe. I cannot see a way to reach that knight anymore, because knight e5 is not working. Queen takes e4 is trying clown pawn in the first move. I consider it, but and clown pawn is giving the line queen takes e4, bishop takes e4, knight takes e4, and then bishop takes e7, so I guess knight takes e7, but of course he's gonna save the queen here. Roman, why would he play g5 in that point? I mean, knight takes e4, first of all he can take with the bishop, I think, but let's continue your line. Queen takes c2, bishop takes c2, knight takes e4, queen takes c2, bishop takes c2. I think then he takes on e4, he doesn't play g5. He takes with the bishop on e4, and then after we take, he plays g5. Should we find another move order? Knight takes, queen takes, we have to take the queen. Yeah, bishop f6, that's what I was thinking. But so knight takes, queen c2, bishop c2, bishop takes e4, bishop takes f6. I guess he can take on c2. Not bishop takes e2. Bishop takes f6. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Bishop takes f6 first. I think he can take on c2. So knight e4, queen c2, bishop c2, bishop e4. Up to that point we're equal material, so we take on f6. He cannot take on f6 because he would be a piece down, so he takes on c2. Then we take on e7, he takes the rook on d1. We take on f8, he takes our knight, and we're equal material. We're equal material. Hey, Clown Pong. I hope he's not giving the answer because I don't believe that answer. No, I think that answer doesn't work. Now, we should also consider what happens if instead of queen c2, he plays bishop e4, which I didn't solve as well. Give me a sec. I have to answer this because, yeah. Okay, so I have 1 more hour to stream. I'll be doing tactics up to that moment. So if knight e4, queen c2, bishop c4, bishop c2, bishop e4, g5, he's not going to play g5. Well, I'm not sure what line are you saying, because bishop takes e4 and g5 are both black moves. Yeah, I'm totally with Clown Pong in that. I mean, I shared with you the link because you asked, but of course, please don't look at the solution. We're trying to reason here, and even if knight takes e4 is the solution, we didn't solve the situation. Anyway, I think that's not the solution, but we're trying to understand the line. So knight takes c4, queen takes c2. We have to take, and then I think black has to take our knight on e4. That's what I thought. And if we take on e4, he plays g5. If we take on f6, he takes on c2. And I don't see anything there. So I would love to find a line where bishop takes e4 does not happen, so we trade queens and then we have some rook c7 in the end of the line. I'm trying to find a line without bishop takes e4. So maybe bishop, going back to the bishop f6 line, knight takes f6. And then what? And then I also thought knight takes b5 at some point, but of course that's a little bit stupid here. I'm struggling with this one. I'm really struggling with this one. I'm pretty confident knight takes e4 and bishop takes f6 are the two candidate moves for the first move. But as I mentioned before, rook d4 was another idea. Yes, Broken Eagle, only tactics today. So shall we have a look at rook d4? Because I'm not even sure if I'm threatening to take on e4 in better conditions. Maybe we are, but I'm not sure if rook takes e4 is such a big threat. I guess it is. So what can black do? My idea is after rook d4 that if he plays knight g5, I have f4. But I guess he can try also some queen c6. No, queen c6. We take on e4 anyway. He can also try g5. A lot of possibilities. So rook d4 is not the kind of move I would love to make it work. It's too complicated, too sophisticated. I would prefer that any simplifying move works here. Is there a point, because we're not using this knight, is there a point to be made about knight g3? I mean, we considered f3 and rook d4. Why not using the knight that we're not using in any lines to put pressure on e4 without being a rook? Anyone following the Gamma Reykjavik Open Fischer Memorial Round 4? It's the biggest open tournament in FIDE. Oh, I didn't know. Thank you for noting it. I will have a look to that. So knight g3 definitely has a threat on e4, but it allows g5, so we need to see. And the idea is, of course, if he takes, we take on f6, and then we should be winning. So okay, knight g3, another candidate move, definitely. And the idea behind both rook d4 and knight g3 is that he cannot add more defenders to the e4 knight. Like, for example, if knight g3, queen c6 is the only way to add a defender, we take the knight. And if he takes, we take the bishop for free. So the only drawback of this, I guess, it's g5. But of course that opens up his king. So so for example, after knight takes, we're definitely threatening knight takes f6 and queen h7. Bye Roman, thank you for your comments. So I'm now remembering what I said after the preliminary calculations of the first lines, that I couldn't do anything against this knight on f6, and I couldn't make this work, and I would love to play against these two knights. Okay, let's use two knights, because now we don't need knight e5, which he can take in two different ways. We can threaten the f6 square with another knight after knight g3. So yeah, I'm starting to like it. So knight g3, g5, knight takes e4, we're threatening knight takes f6 check and queen h7 mate, so he cannot take our bishop on h4. Let's say he takes on e4. If he takes with the knight, maybe we're not good. Maybe after knight g3, g5, we take with the other knight on e4. So we have the same threat, but we also have ideas of trading queens and then take on e4. So that's my idea now. Knight g3, g5, knight c takes e4. Then we're threatening mate again with knight takes f6, so he cannot take on h4. If he takes on e4 with either piece, we trade queens and then take on e4, but then our bishop is hanging on h4. So let's see a line. Bishop takes e4, queen takes, rook a takes c8, knight takes e4 maybe. I don't see a win here, guys. I see exactly the same problems as in the other line. Sorry. Yes, it hurts. I thought we were doing fine in this line, but same problems as in the other lines. Maybe there's with the knight on g3 there might be some knight d5, knight f5 ideas. Whoa, this is too complicated. So we have 4 ideas for the first move, and I don't have a clue about which one is the good one. I'm gonna toss a coin or something. Okay, the stream is halfway now, so I'm going to grab another coffee while while you keep struggling with this one. I think I've been, I don't know, like 40 minutes with this one already. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. I hope you figure out the solution in the meantime. And I'll be right back in a minute while you kill your brains. Okay. Go back here. Yes, I have a whole body, and my brains are too tired of this puzzle. So I'm in a way I like it, because we saw a lot of lines, a lot of ideas, but it's really annoying not to find the way. However, in a real game, I would be happy about this position, because we've seen like 4 different lines that more or less lead to equality. So yeah, let's give up. Yeah, but I'm not going to give up. I mean, I'm gonna try one option. But yeah, I'm gonna randomly pick one. My gut feeling goes with knight e4 or rook d4. But yeah, I think I didn't go too deeply in the bishop f6 line. The knight e4 line was the more complicated, I think, from the lines we've seen. But of course knight g3 and rook d4 are complex, but we just didn't explore them enough. But of course they're not simplifying immediately, so they're more complicated. We scratched that. Yeah, we saw all those lines. Yeah, Colombo, I think you're you you weren't here, but we've been with this one like for more than 40 minutes, I think. We've seen all those lines. Bishop f6, knight f6. I couldn't make knight e5 work, and if knight e5 is not working, I don't see the point in taking on f6. You have to get a full lesson in 5 minutes? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna pick knight takes e4. I think from all the lines we've seen, that was the hardest, well, not the hardest, but the one that created the most discussions, the one that where most of us thought at some point we were winning, but in the end we found a defense for black. So I'm gonna pick it because maybe I missed something. Yeah, Candela, let me sum it up for you. After knight takes c4, black has two main options: bishop takes or queen takes c2. So the one you're saying is bishop takes, and of course after bishop takes we can trade queens. He takes back with the rook on a, and after bishop takes e4 he has g5 to regain the piece, because our two bishops are hanging there. So that was one option, but after knight takes e4 he can trade queens first, and it seems like we should be winning, but he has exactly the same. Like after bishop takes c2 he takes on e4, and after we take he has g5. So there were other options there, but okay, I'm gonna do it. Okay, first move was okay. Now we also thought that we could trade on f6 first, and that might be the solution. And then he takes with the bishop, and if we take the queen he takes on h4, but now I'm seeing we might have some ideas there. Okay, let's try to solve it, because we got the first one right. So after bishop takes c2 he can try, he has to take on e4, I think, and after knight takes f6 he takes on f6, and we have to take the queen, so we're losing the other piece, and there's no rook d7 because the bishop is on h4, and after g3 he has f6, so I don't think we can take here, so I would go with bishop takes c2. And then if he goes g5 we take on f6, that's good for us, but I think he takes here, and then we take on f6, he takes on c2. I mean, if you see the whole the whole video, Colombo, it's gonna be like 2 hours of stream and 1 hour and 50 minutes with with this one. Yeah, I think taking the queen should be the only one, because the other one is so easy. After bishop takes, I mean, it's check, so he has to take, and then bishop takes, yeah. So I'll take the queen, defending the knight. What? 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 I'm still not believing it. I mean, I understand now he has to take with the bishop, because of course if g5, we saw this and we're a piece up. We lose b2, but okay. So he has to take with the bishop, and now, yeah, bullshit. Now my point is, after this he has g5, and yeah, stupid me. This is different than the line. If he takes on c2 first, this line works for us. What I wasn't sure is in the other line where he has the rook on c8. Okay, now I have to see the lines, because here for sure we're winning. So he doesn't have g5. Yeah, of course. In this line we're winning. Now, what happens in this line? Because here he doesn't have the rook on a8, so if I take here, he has g5. Well, I'm still not sure of this puzzle. So let's start. This was a good move, okay. And now he traded. Okay, if he trades, the rook is on a8, so this is easy now, because if bishop takes, threatening the rook, we're a piece up. Because if he takes, e7 is hanging, and if g5, we take on a8. But he took on c2, but I wasn't sure of this other line here. Maybe we can take here. No, the rook would be hanging on d1. So after takes, maybe this is the line. Takes. Yeah, this is the line. We end a piece up. No, not wasted. Not wasted. Ah, you mean because we solved it anyway? But I mean, even if I fail the puzzle, it was a very good exercise for us, and we didn't see this. And the idea is here, yeah, we're a piece up. So yeah, in my head, I think I was mixing two lines. Because in the line with queen trade, we cannot. In this line, we cannot take on f6 here, because we're not a piece up. And in the line without the queen trade, g5 saves for black. And actually I thought like the same of the two lines, and what happens is the other way around. I mean, in the line with queen takes, we can take on f6. No, not in this one, sorry. In the you know, I'm mixing again. In the line with with queen takes, which was the one of the puzzle, we threaten the rook on a8, and in the other line he doesn't have a rook on a8 anymore, but now we can take on f6. Yeah, so that was the solution. Yeah, I'm moving on. 2 points for this. 2 points! Okay. New puzzle. Who's gonna take the rest of the stream? Okay. We have some interesting checkers here. Our queen is hanging, and what's the material count? We are 2 pawns down for nothing, so we should be attacking and checkmating him or something. So some ideas here, some ideas. Some ideas. Some sacrifice on a2 as well. Wow, a lot of ideas here. Can we sack our queen? No, I don't think so, because a rook is a rook. I'm getting myself a regretty. Be right back. Feels bad, man. Okay, should we save our queen? For example, queen a5. Pretty normal move. Saving the queen. Adding more stuff to the attack. Knight c3. Is there a point for knight c3? Knight takes c3. Pawn takes, queen takes queen. Rook b8. Nah. Knight e3 check. I guess he can take it, because our queen is hanging. Let's remember that. And what about pinning the knight? Simple stuff. Winning by pinning. So queen b7 is is a move to consider. I guess then he can take on b4. This is too complicated. This is too complicated. I cannot see a way to do a clear threat here. The feeling is the position should be winning, but this knight on d5 is annoying. I thought there were days where I just couldn't play chess. But by watching this, I'm realizing that it's not that you can play, but you're slow as all hell. Thank you, Rocking Eagle. Yeah, I'm for what it's worth, I'm sick. I've been sick since a couple of days, and I'm really slow. I agree with that. Well, today I'm slow at all levels, not only chess. But yeah, I want to solve them, generally speaking. I don't want to just play a random move, because I need to see all the lines. Like, these puzzles are complicated. I'm not even sure what are the candidate moves here. Is there a point for knight e3 check anyway? I mean, if he takes, I can I sacrifice the queen? Nah. I'm regaining the piece with rook b8, but Candela is saying a line. Yeah, it's that determination to solve it even if it takes 3 hours. What can make you improve every day? Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the last puzzle, we got +2, but it was an accident because we didn't solve it when I tried a random move. But yeah, the more time you spend, generally the more closer you are to the solution. And actually I played knight takes c4 because in general that was the closest we got, we thought. But also spending the time is good exercise, I guess. Candela, when you're saying rook takes h7, I guess you mean rook takes a2. And yeah, if he takes with the queen, we have a fork. Maybe bishop e3. Yeah, random move saves time. Yeah, that's true. But after rook takes a2, I think he just takes our queen. That's the main problem, because then we lose a rook. If we take his queen, we might still have knight c3 then. Nah, we simply lose a rook. So rook takes a2, I don't feel it. Rook takes a2, knight takes queen, knight c3 check. He can take our knight, he can play rook king c1 or king c2 even. We're gonna lose the rook to regain the queen. Sorry. Okay, let's try queen b7 with the idea to play knight c3 check, or even queen takes knight. Okay, maybe we can sacrifice the queen with b3. b3, knight takes b6, pawn takes a2 check. That's an interesting line, because if he takes with the queen, we have knight c3 check, some bishop a4, but still our rook is hanging on a8, our bishop is hanging on d7. I guess giving him the chance to take on b6 shouldn't be good, unless we have a forced win that I cannot see. What else can we do? If we move the queen, these moves make sense. Queen c6, I didn't consider it. Queen c6 might be an idea. Giving him chances, I guess, of rook c1 or something. Okay, queen a5 prevents queen takes b4, because queen a2, rook c8, that should be winning. So queen a5 forces him to take with the knight, I guess. And then we have some interesting checks with our knight. Maybe even winning on the spot, knight c3. But the pawn a2 is defended now with the knight. Okay. And queen b7 forces him to take with the queen. So those are my two considerations here. Let's go back to this one. We're sort of threatening to increase our pressure a lot with knight a3, rook c8, but I don't have a clear threat in mind, I guess. Maybe b3 is a clear threat in mind. I can't see any moves again. Too much blitz. Yeah. It happens to me as well. So queen a5, our threat might be b3 to then play some rook b8, knight a3. I like that. I like that. And I also like that we control this diagonal, because then if he tries to escape with the king, we're gonna have bishop a4 and it's not gonna escape. So queen a5 I like. It makes some sense from a positional point of view, because first of all we save our queen, and secondly we keep control over b6 and c7. So I like queen a5. I think I would play queen a5 in blitz mode, like if I don't want to spend more time, I would play queen a5. And one idea is he cannot take with the queen, because queen a2, rook c8 should win on the spot, wins on the spot. So what happens after queen a5, knight takes b4? Let's consider it. Clown pawn cannot get an S and cannot type. Okay, so after knight takes b4, we could try knight a3 check. And it has one idea in mind, or two. If he plays king a1, we have queen takes b4 and knight c2 check, winning a piece, although he can take an exchange on a8. But yeah, 2 pieces and a rook, 2 pieces for a rook and 2 pawns. And 3 pawns. So from a material point of view that doesn't work, but it's an idea, it's an idea. So queen a5, knight takes b4, knight a3 check. If he goes here, I guess rook c8 check makes a lot of sense. He cannot block on c6, he cannot block on c2. So he has to go to d2 with the king, then his knight is pinned on b4, so I can play rook c2 and win the queen. So I guess this is a forced line. After this, this and this, he has to play king to a1. And with the king on the corner, we might have some ideas. So queen takes b4 doesn't seem to work, but maybe there are some other ideas. We can slow play with rook a7. We could play knight c4 maybe. The queen and the knight have to defend a2. So I like this idea. Hey, Lord Sakuho. Queen a5, knight takes before knight a3 check forces king a1, and I like that. I like that. I don't see a blow, an immediate blow, but I have a good feeling about the position. Maybe rook a b8 is good enough, threatening the knight on b4 that is pinned, and no way to defend it, no way to move it without losing the queen, because a rook is defended on b8. So if knight c6, bishop takes c6. So that line I like. Queen a5, knight takes b4, knight a3 check, king a1, rook a b8. So I think that means that after queen a5 he cannot take on b4 with either piece. So if he cannot take it, I'm liking queen a5 even more. As much as I liked to pin the knight, I feel this is dangerous for us and he can take here. So just in order not to spend 45 minutes with each puzzle, I'm gonna move queen a5 without solving the whole line, because I solved that he cannot take on b4. Now if he cannot take on b4, I have strong threats. So I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna fail. This is where I'm gonna lose my points in this move. Yes. 26 points. Wow. Okay, give me a bathroom break. And then I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna leave this one for you. Okay. So I didn't have enough brain to solve this one, but I made a mistake. I mean, I didn't calculate the forcing lines. I went for queen a5, which seems like a really nice move. Yeah, but it's not a forced one. I guess I should first calculate what happens here, here. Even rook takes a2, that doesn't seem to work. I should calculate more. So now that I've already failed, I can try random moves. So let me try knight a3. Let me try, queen b7. I also considered queen b7. Queen b7 was the solution. Oh. Okay. So yeah, after queen a5, what I solved was that he cannot take here because of this. The other rook also works. And yeah, now he's killed because knight is protecting this. So if knight c3, I take. And I calculated he couldn't take here because of knight e3 check. He has to go to a1, I think, because if he goes here, again, these are protected. So he only has apparently this, but now the knight is pinned, so I can do this. And I calculated this, and I thought, okay, that's fair, that's good enough. I didn't even consider that he has a lot of material, maybe he has a lot of material, I don't know. That's why I thought he only could go here, and then I thought, okay, I'm winning the knight. But I guess here he has this move that I didn't consider, because now if rook takes, queen takes. No, he doesn't have that move. Sorry, this is not working for him. So I think this is still good for me. I should be missing something, maybe in the king c1 line. So the solution was queen b7, and I thought he could take here. I guess he cannot. Not sure. This is complicated. Of course, here there's mate. And maybe knight c3 is not the solution. So what's the deal here? Why can't he take there? I thought he could take here on b4 with these ideas. What am I missing? I have no brain right now. I don't have a brain. I cannot think. I have no clue why this is good for black. I totally discarded queen b7 because of this move. Knight c3 check? Yeah, but what's the problem with knight c3 check? He moves the king, and our queen is hanging on b7. If I trade queens, a2 is defended. I mean, we're 3 pawns down here. We're 3 pawns down. Is this winning? A rook is threatened. Our knight is hanging. So let's say I take here. He takes here. If I try to save my knight before taking his bishop, he can threaten it again. We're 3 pawns down. So what is it here that's good? Maybe this seems too slow. Yeah, my brain is dead as well. I don't know why this is good for black. I mean, of course, if I play queen b7 and he does this, of course I take the bishop and I understand. But I thought queen takes before and I didn't see a win here. Maybe, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I thought knight e3 check, but of course he cannot go here because of knight here. And this seems risky because of this, probably, or maybe even this. Seems risky. I'm not sure if it's risky. But what about this? I guess I can check here, but I'm not sure if that's good. Because in the end we're going to move this queen, maybe trading, and a rook will be hanging on a8. What should I do here? I mean, I see lines like this. Let's say this. I'm not sure, but then we have this. But even there, We're 3 pawns down. Maybe just... Yeah, clown pawn. That was what I was thinking. First we need to move the knight on a3 to keep it defended, and then bishop c6. Sorry. And then we have this sort of eternal ping, but yeah, I don't think that's good enough. Yeah, queen e7, rook f7, I thought that. But maybe he can even... Okay, let's say he first defends the bishop, and now next idea is knight c7, I guess. He can even try knight c7 here. It seems risky, but it might even work. Like bishop takes f3. I was going to take here, but of course rook takes a8 defends the knight on a3. So I guess he has to take the other one. No, the knight is still defended. Let's say this. And we take... And... Okay, even if we win a piece, it's 3 pawns for the piece. I'm not even assessing this as winning for black. So bishop c6, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't want to move on. I want to turn the engine on and see why this is good for black. And it says bishop c6 immediately. And rook a4 as well. Rook a4 I understand. But bishop c6 immediately? Yeah, and there's no way for him to save the piece. Okay, let me stop the engine. So bishop c6 immediately, there's no way for him to save the piece, because if this, of course he loses it. So interesting. And if he goes here, then the queen is pinned. So after this we take the bishop on f3 and we win an exchange. Still not the end of the world, because he has 3 pawns yet again. Okay, it can be. Maybe there's something better, because I turned off the engine. I only wanted to see what was the engine suggesting in this position, and it also said rook a4, which of course I missed. Rook a4, very nice one. And I guess the idea is to check here, and after knight takes... it's double check. Yeah, I'm so stupid. Then we're winning the queen, yeah. So rook a4, very nice. He has to go back. And then again, I think we don't have that. I guess we need this. Or bishop c6. Okay, let's move on. Now that I failed a problem and I lost 26 points, I guess we should get an easier one. Let's see. I think I have like 5 or 10 minutes. So this is going to be the last one. This is going to be the last one, most likely. Yeah, it's going to be the last one. So I'm currently losing 11 points in this session. Let's try to cut the bleeding by solving this one. So rook takes f2, this comes from this position, and black took on f2 with clear idea to checkmate white. So first idea is, why don't we take the rook? And second idea is, can we threaten mate somehow? Why don't we take here first? Wow, that's really interesting. Takes followed by queen g6 is an interesting idea. Queen g6 immediately is also an interesting idea, unless we're checkmated. So for example, after queen g6 he might have some ideas like rook f1 followed by bishop e3. Okay, crazy position, crazy. So let's start with the most forcing move. You should always start with that one. So bishop takes is the most forcing move. Only move, king takes. Queen g6 check. Only move, king f8. Then I would take the rook on f2 because he has no good checks. Maybe queens. He has no checks. He has no checks. But I can. No, I cannot. The rook is still defending from f2. I also have queen h6 check, winning this bishop. Clown pawn is greedy and wants to take the rook. King takes f2, rook f8 check. I guess it's not the only move. King back to g1, rook f1 check. I don't believe rook f1 check. Rook f1, rook takes f1, bishop takes e3, king h1. Yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, I don't think rook f1 is a good move in that position. I think it's a good move maybe if we leave to g6. But we're also threatening mate, so you never know. Okay, so being greedy is an idea. Yeah, of course, we have bishop and queen to block on e4. There's no way he can check us with the king on h1. I don't like that line because I think black can play better than that. But maybe he cannot. Let me start, however, with the most forcing line and see if I see something there. Takes queen g6, king f8. The stream is lagging. Sorry to hear about it. Maybe it's sick as me. What I mean is, if I'm going to take the rook, why don't I take it after this line? Takes, queen check, king f8, then take the rook. Because I gave up a bishop? Yeah, that might be a good reason. But then black has nothing. Oh, he has bishop takes e3, followed by queen c3. Nah, I have the rooks defended. But then queen b2, and I have no rook e2. Okay. Okay, so let's see, what are the dangers of taking the rook? Rook f8, maybe it's not the only move, but it makes sense. I go back. Sorry. Then black has a sneaky idea, I guess, which is after king takes rook, rook f8 check king back to g1. Black has this sneaky idea of rook f1, as you mentioned, rook takes f1, queen e2, going for the checkmate. f8 is protected still by the bishop, and queen g2 is a strong threat. It's a mate threat. And also bishop takes e3. So instead of going bishop takes e3 immediately, I'm scared of this idea. Even in your line, even instead of rook f1, even if you're in your line, rook f1, bishop e3, king h1, instead of a check, queen e2. But I guess rook f8 checkmate is a strong threat. So I guess it makes more sense what I'm saying. After king g1, rook f1, queen e2. Your connection died also, but yeah, this says I'm still streaming and that my connection is excellent. So I'm scared of queen e2. I still have the feeling that I can save it. Something like rook f2, bishop takes e3, queen e1, something like that. Then king takes h7 and b2 is hanging, but I can move it. And I took a rook in the first place, so okay. And I have like 2 minutes now to end the stream, so I think I'm not gonna solve it. So I think I'm gonna take the rook. It seems too dangerous to take that rook. I still have the feeling that taking here is safer. Queen g3, king f8, then take the rook. And if bishop e3, I have rook e3. So bishop e3, not a big threat. And I will be not a tone material up, but I will be material up. After bishop g7, I mean, in a real game, I would be practical. And I would play bishop g7, king g7, queen g6, king f8, king takes rook, because I see he has no checks. And I'm still up on material, and his king is exposed, and his rook on a8 doing nothing. So I would go for that in a real game. c2 is protected, so there's no checks. There's no checks for him. I mean, he can trade queens with queen f7, but yeah, he's down on material, I think, because we have an exchange and a pawn up. So even though he has the bishop pair, I think that should be winning for us. So that seems like a... Why can't he go king h8 after queen g6? Because I didn't see it, but yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I totally didn't see that. So yeah, of course, queen g6, king back to h8. Having no, you know, preparing rook f8. I guess he should be lost after that, but maybe he doesn't. I mean, I guess after queen h6, it seems scary for black, unless he has a lot of checks. And I think he has, because rook f1, bishop e3, king h1, queen d5, and then we're busted. So yeah, I think bishop g7 doesn't work. I mean, at least after king h8, queen h6 doesn't work, because he has rook f1, bishop e3, queen d5. If I move the queen out of the diagonal. So then I'm gonna take the rook. I have to go, so I need to pick a random move. I'm not gonna solve it. I'm going to pick king takes rook. The only other alternative is queen g6, but I guess queen g6 is too scary. Yeah, these 2 minutes are becoming too long because it's being like 3 or 4 minutes. So I'm gonna take the rook and hope for the best. And okay, good news is we don't have a lot of options here. I gotta go back because, yeah, I gotta go back. I mean, bishop f5 doesn't make sense. Yeah, good one, Clown Pong. You completely solved it in the first place. Now, why is this puzzle rated? What's the rating? 2141, 2100. Why is this puzzle 2100? I mean, this position, your opponent sacrifices a rook. You take the rook. He checks you. You play the only move that doesn't lose a piece, and the problem is solved. Okay, and that's 3 points. That's 3 points more than the one that we spent 45 minutes to get 2 points. This took like 10 minutes, I think. Useless. Yeah, useless. Take hanging piece, then move to only square available. This is a 2100 puzzle. And this puzzle before the +2, which I can click to remind you. This one with knight takes c4, where we were calculating like 4 different lines deeply with tricks, pins, counter pins, intermediate moves. This was 2 points for solving it. Yeah, I mean, I know the rating has to do with people failing it or solving it. So I guess most people fail this one, maybe because they think, as I thought, that after takes okay, hopefully I've already solved it, because otherwise I would have a minus here. Okay, now that there we go. Now that I solved it, I can make moves. I guess many people think about going here, as I thought, and after this check, of course, if he goes here, then it's really safe to take this rook, because he has no checks here, and I'm up on material. This is protected. This is no way to be a good move. And yeah, this is not easy. King h8, then we might be in trouble, because queen h6 doesn't work because of this, and we're checkmated. So I guess many people think that, as I thought, and that I would be losing. However, here I was a little bit scared of this idea by black. I guess we're surviving here, but I was a little bit scared because so far rook f8 mate is defended, and here white has to be careful. This is strong threat now, and I thought rook f2 was the only way to stop it, but maybe we have bishop e4, maybe. But bishop takes here is also a threat. But maybe this saves the game anyway. Bishop e4, or maybe this is safe. But yeah, I don't know. I was scared of this queen e2 idea, because if rook f2 he can ping a rook, so there's no longer rook f8 mate. And in some lines, if I go to defend here, he can take our bishop in the end. Like here, takes. No, this is bad for black. He's a rook down. So yeah, I was scared of this queen e2, but of course if we get to survive and trade, we're a rook up. So yeah, just take the rook. That was the solution. Okay guys, I really gotta go now. Thank you for watching. I'll be streaming on Sunday because I will be playing on Saturday. So I will be analyzing the game on Sunday. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your comments. And in the end, only -8 in this session. Okay, see you guys.